Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SB Reacts, where today we have ourselves an album from an act named It'sYaBoiH2, titled Better Than One. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves the album on the screen, the art here on Music Beat. Now, this is an album that is due to release on the 6th of the 6th. Friday, 6th June, only on their Spotify page though. At midnight Central Time, I think, Flatliner Friday. So that's dope. So I'm getting to listen to this before it releases, which is pretty cool. But if you're watching this, it's out at that date and time. And we've got 16 tracks. It's going to be good to check this out. We're going to listen through each of these 16 tracks from start till finish. And we're going to hear what we think. Starting with another with production by Legion Beats.
Yeah.
That bass response is pretty phenomenal, to be honest.
Never thought I'd make it to this part. It's bound to happen though.
I wake up in the morning, hit the mirror, wash my face, ready for another day. Know I gotta wash my pace. Sometimes I wish, sometimes I wish, sometimes I wish that I was in another place. I wake up in the morning, hit the mirror, wash my face, ready for another day. Know I gotta wash my face. Sometimes I wish, sometimes I wish, sometimes I wish that I was in another
Like,
place.
can you pick me up, drop me, let me land somewhere else? Shit, you can even toss me a fresh breath of air or help. I just wanna be noticed, cause I'm aware of myself. But I don't know myself that well, so I'm scared of myself. If I die today and don't mix this, will you hear how I felt? Will you weep and lose sleep from the same tears I wept? Off this loose leaf, I'm too deep, fuck 6 feet, I'm 12. If I cough or I sneeze, you think that I ain't scared of my health, while all these other rappers scared of their wealth. I'm scared of this shelf. My main fear is not coming out, while all y'all ball all day long and your bank account keep running out. Not just the South, it's all around. It's something about me wanting out.
I wake up in the morning, hit the mirror, wash my face, ready for another day. Know I gotta wash my pace. Sometimes I wish, sometimes I wish, sometimes I wish that I was in another place.
I don't fake past, that real rap be coming out my mouth. Never bit my tongue, cause if I did, you see blood running out. Dripping off my lip, no pistol, gripping off the hip, and I'm as pissed as shit, cause I'm as official get. They gon' let my verses ride, kinda like a permit. I make other rappers hide, turn them into hermits. Gotta be this tall to step to me. Welcome to the circus. They envy me, but no, it ain't easy being green like Kermit. See, I'ma serve a purpose, same way I serve these haters. They gon' pay for what they did. I'ma serve them papers with no dates or deadlines. I'ma be about mine for ages and run these boys around the court until they break their ankles.
Shit. So that's a strong start to proceedings. That is another with production by Legion Beats. So I think this track is about him sort of getting into the game first off, waking up in the morning, getting ready for the day, kind of focusing himself and sort of like preparing, even though he wishes he was somewhere else, preparing for what is to come. I think it sort of discusses maybe how he views other people in regards to how they operate, how they rap, how they're coming up within the industry. And it gets to the end where basically he's just decided that he's going to run around the block and until they break their ankles. And it's just, you feel that immediately you kind of get a sense of who they are as a person, how they see themselves. It shows a little bit of vulnerability, but also a clear focus, and I appreciate that. So the story is interesting. It'll be kind of cool to kind of hear how it sort of pans out across the rest of the album. I think one of the things that works really well here is the overall studio production, the quality and clarity of it. You can hear everything really neatly with the mix. There's a fantastic sub bass to the low end with those 808s there. I like the shimmer and sheen of a lot of those kind of EQing decisions with the vocal parts there. I think the double tracking as well is a smart move. For the most part, it's done really, really well, and I love that there's just a bit more size to it, and I appreciate as well that the more sort of sung parts as opposed to the rap verses are contrasted with the way the tones and textures are presented as well. And typically the actual groove and beat of it is pretty well leveled as well. So I think another thing that works really well with this track is the short form factor coupled with the structuring of the verses and choruses. I think that if you had tried to do more than you had within this with a couple of verses and then the refrain, I think it would have been a little bit too overcomplicated. And while you could have potentially slept on it and had like one chorus and one verse and then one chorus, we wanted to make sure there was absolutely no filler within this one. I feel it was a smart decision. The instrumental backing was interesting. You know, we didn't need to do work as hard as we did on this one, but I feel like for a first impression, it's kind of what you need. You kind of need to get people hooked. I think the final thing I want to mention here is the tightness of the drum grooves with the various sort of like 8th, 16th, and even faster rhythms presented, alongside the really somber kind of motif or progression or lead lines you have in the background is something to behold. As those key parts in the background, which are kind of sad sounding, but they're also very gentle, and it's kind of a cozy feeling, almost lo-fi hip-hop-ish, where you have the punchiness of the drums that are contrasted, and they kind of suit the different sides of what's discussed there vocally. So I feel like the instrumental parts, at least texturally, if not in terms of their chord choices or like sort of like rhythmic devices, suit the mood and vibe, but show nuance there. So yeah, it's just a really interesting, gentle track that kind of lets you know what direction one pointed in, and it's presented really well, and it'll be good to hear what's next. Because we've got Anthony Ray production by Kubsy, track number 2, with the guitars immediately. Kind of interesting with staying on that motif.
I'm feeling so high, can't bring me down today, down today. My adrenaline's pumping, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. Said I can hear the money coming, so fuck what you trying to say, what you trying to say. I feel so good, I'm so good. It feel good to be Anthony Ray.
Rappers say they do it like me, tell them boys hell no. Let them have it with the letter, y'all can't even spell raw. On my way up the ladder, all like it smells raw. Mylon boys keep it fresh and everything they sell raw. Pedal to the metal like I'm speeding straight to jail, bruh. Life a motherfucking bitch and I admit I fell for it. Stroke my dick, grab my nuts, grip it tight, cram it up. She fucked me till I had enough, I'm out the door, she slammed it shut. Motherfucker acting shady way, he just be using me. I ain't acting shady, baby, that's H on the usually. You need to just get used to me, cause I ain't with the truancy. To be or not to be, the question is where to be.
I'm feeling so high, can't bring
And into the hook.
hook.
Alright, nice.
My adrenaline's pumping, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. Said I can hear the money coming, so fuck what you trying to say, what you trying to say. I feel so good, I'm so good. It feel good to be Anthony Ray.
Ain't you stand up, dude, ain't no fucking slouch in him. Nah, all about that green, got a lot of grouch in him. He ain't chillin' on the couch, man, the couch chillin' with him. Obese on the beat, bitch, you can't outshit him. With or without writtens, I leave him without a purpose. Gassing me up.
It was an unusual transition there. I appreciate that it was used for a little bit of nuance, for like an extra bit of words before like transition. I feel like that was the correct way to do that.
Make you nervous when I swerve the curb, pretty like cursive. They just hit the ER and we already brought the hearses. As a wordsmith, you worthless, deserve to be earthless. I beat the competition, there are no verses. Begging for our signature, they know who the fame are. The rest only get initials, yet with the AR. The rest only get initials, yet with the AR.
I'm feeling so high, can't bring me down today, down today. My adrenaline's pumping, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. Said I can hear the money coming, so fuck what you trying to say, what you trying to say. I feel so good, I'm so good. It feel good to be Anthony Ray, be Anthony Ray. I'm feeling so high, can't bring me
Oh, and a double time chorus. Nice.
My adrenaline's pumping, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. Said I can hear the money coming, so fuck what you trying to say, what you trying to say. I feel so good, I'm so good. It feel good to be Anthony Ray, be Anthony Ray.
I mean, there's a real incredible distortion and kind of grind to those kicks. And it's a welcome return to the guitar motif. I think we were kind of missing out in the halfway point. And a classy little fade out at the end. Nice. So this is an interesting follow-on from another, where Anthony Ray production by Kubsy kind of features more of a quiet celebration a gratitude to be ourselves there, where we're kind of in a place where we're speeding towards our goals and ambitions, and we're kind of achieving the targets that we have for things. I kind of dig it in the sense that I think it's great to have that sense of authenticity, to be able to acknowledge there's multiple facets to it. Like, we're simply just more maybe making songs depending on a specific angle or sound like area or status at that point in time. And I think that people are fluid in the sense that our moods can shift and our self-perceptions can change, and I just think it makes it seem a bit more real. So that's really cool. There's more to it than they talk about how life's treated them and stuff like that, and they're just kind of bouncing through, and they went through hell to get out of it, but they're now kind of watching that money come in, and they're happy with it. It feels good to be Anthony Ray. One of the things to me that was really positive about this track is that, just to be clear, I'm not saying positive things and ignoring any potential constructive feedback I could give. It's what I'll be more than happy to, how do I say this? I'm comfortable with providing constructive critique if required, just so that the reviews are transparent. It's just that things have been done well so far. I think that the structure of this track is interesting because you have this guitar motif, this picked arpeggio kind of thing going on that is at beginning and at the end, and it's absent in that middle part, and it's just interesting to have that range there in a way where on the first listen I couldn't necessarily understand why that was the case. It sort of seemed like maybe the music was trying to infer that we were a bit more somber in that situation, and that going out things were a bit easier. Maybe we were discussing a hard time, and then at the end it was like, oh, but we've kind of come out of that darkness and we're finding things a bit more peaceful now. It was an interesting contrast regardless with the mixture of different instruments and different layering decisions we had there. Sometimes we'd have nothing, sometimes we'd have everything, the full kind of bass and drums and 808s and stuff like that, and the sizzle and distortion and kind of push on that kick being fierce as hell. But there were also some interesting decisions where we even varied the guitar riffs and had some harmonics and just open strings occasionally. So I like not only that we had that guitar riff in there that sounded really pretty, had an interesting kind of chorus, kind of like almost grungy affectation to it, making it seem a bit more earthy, but that we also just didn't recycle the same guitar idea, that we had different bits and different parts and had sort of compositional range there. I think I also sort of like want to talk about the use of those drums. I think that with that kind of beat with the cicada-ish kind of hi-hats and the kind of claps or rim hits, and then the kicks as pushed as they were, you really do run the gauntlet between it being just enough and too much, and I think that we managed to find good balance and equilibrium here. It's a longer track than the previous one, and I think that having two double choruses like that just before the end was good. I think we definitely needed to fade out that last bit there just to kind of round it out. I don't think we could have gone more than 4 minutes without there been either a sort of a chapter turn or kind of like one of those tracks where the halfway point is a completely different vibe to the first. But it's an interesting situation either way, where we have ourselves a song where you have different stages, and just, again, it's knowing the drums, knowing when to come out, to not be there, should I say, just allowing things to float, but also to allow a more contemporary feel to it that is kind of evergreen and has a great sense of flow and feel to it, even if there's some heavier subject matter. And finally, I think I just want to talk about the actual harmonized vocals within this. I thought that we had some interesting vocal takes where they were double tracking, and I liked the way that even if they were like a little bit kind of not entirely in tune, even if they were slightly out a little bit, it just kind of sounded like we were kind of singing along to the piece and sort of saying our piece, and it's kind of what we need in a track like this. We're not trying to over-articulate or over sort of like produce or perform it. It's a song where you've got a person just kind of showing they're happy for themselves. And I think it's more believable than if you try to do it with a really kind of like expressive over-the-top vocal performance. I think that the way we approached that was solid, nice bit of color in there melodically or harmonically there to contrast with the approach we had when we were rapping certain components. And ultimately just, yeah, really good. Ultimately quite happy with this track too. Again, I think if we'd had the same sort of motif or idea the whole time without instrumental variety or changes in layering, it would have been a little bit too similar, but again, we knew to adjust that, and that was very good. We've got track number 3, Chase After You, production by It'sYaBoiH2. Interesting tone to that.
It'sYaBoiH2 makes beats.
It'sYaBoiH2.
I'm searching for a battle if you bitches want some, but they lurking in the shadows, they don't really want none. Knuckles made of brass and a mouth like a shotgun. You can get hit up or you can get hit with a hot one. Homie, I am not one to really be tested. If you poke your chest out at me, then it better be vested, cause I come from a block there's nothing but goon infested. So if you don't wanna rest in peace, I'm suggesting you rest it. See, I'm a grown ass man and my goddamn plan is to do what I have to do. What I have to do. I'm trying to follow my dreams while I'm watching all of this green. I run it, motherfucker, don't make me chase after you. See, I'm a grown ass man and my goddamn plan is to do what I have to do. What I have to do. I'm trying to follow my dreams while I'm watching all of this green. I run it, motherfucker, don't make me chase after you. I'm on an everlasting hunt for these neverlasting cunts. We riding down the block, reek, fire up that blunt. I'm looking for these chumps, moves in the front slump, ready to jump up out the ride and fire on these punks. You get to run and hide once, but eventually we find you, and we gon' take out every motherfucker that's beside you, in front of and behind you. Need I remind you, we shining all day, so it ain't shit for us to blind you. See, I'm a grown ass man and my goddamn plan is to do what I have to do. What I have to do. I'm trying to follow my dreams while I'm watching all of this green. I run it, motherfucker, don't make me chase it.
What I would like to sort of like mention is I'm wondering if the vocals are maybe a little bit too loud in the mix. Not that I'm disliking listening to them, just they sound quite present when compared to everything else. I mean, I can hear that the drums are chaining them, so that's fine.
Follow my dreams while I'm watching all of this green. I run it, motherfucker, don't make me chase after you. The fame is like fresh clothes and money on a beat. That's right. And now we got this bitch looking bloody in the streets. See, I got expensive taste and y'all is going for the cheap. The fame a mob, we got dudes that'll knock y'all off for free. So what's it gonna be, partner? You can save your threats. You came with blowing smoke, homie. You can call me Nicorette. We can sit down and face defeat like an adult. We can beat each other senseless till neither one got a pulse. See, I'm a grown ass man and my goddamn plan is to do what I have to do. What I have to do. I'm trying to follow my dreams while I'm watching all of this green. I run it, motherfucker, don't make me chase after you. See, I'm a grown ass man and my goddamn plan is to do what I have to do. What I have to do. I'm trying to follow my dreams while I'm watching all of this green. I run it, motherfucker, don't make me chase after you.
Yeah, so it seems like the drums and the vocals are pretty consistent and they're level with each other. It could just because of the panning decisions and maybe the way things were processed with the previous other elements, but it just seems like, yeah, might just not have been enough to tackle like the cloud drum or something like that. So that was It's Your Boy, Chase After You, production by It'sYaBoiH2. This third track, I get the impression it's about really just telling whoever they are after that they are in serious mortal danger. If they come to their part of the woods, they're gonna have a bad time. And if they don't figure out what the hell they're gonna do to defend themselves, or you know, like they're gonna have a terrible time. It's just you are in danger. And so, you know, there's more to it than that. But that's my take on it initially. And I just dig how blunt it is, on one hand. I mean, again, I mentioned that I think the vocals are still a little bit loud in the mix. Or could be that the other parts, like the do-do-do-do-do, that kind of melodic motif in the background is maybe a little bit too quiet when the vocals come in. But anyway, I think just the attitude, the sass, the delivery, the expression behind a lot of the vocals, that gotta do, you know, that kind of drag on it, you know, it's got attitude and kind of like angst, but it's also aggressive. I just dig how blunt and raw we're being about that kind of stuff. I think it makes sense regarding sort of overall vibe of the track, so that's solid. The way that we expressed ourselves, communicated on the mic here was very, very good for that reason, additional. But it's also that the kind of menace, the danger of the motif in the background, the minor leaning there, the arpeggio, these 808s, the very kind of finite final drums. It's like an impending like war horn or something like that, like you're going to go to battle or something like that. There's almost a meditative kind of like quality to it, like you kind of like having to consider meeting your maker with the amount of danger that you're in. What I will say though is that I would have potentially have liked there to have been a way somehow to add more to the track or develop it, the motif further behind it. It's not that I was uninterested in the main sort of motif or beat behind it, because I thought that was a cool concept. And I liked how we changed things up near the end once the vocals came out, and I think it was also a smart idea to be able to get the song to fade out at the end. It's just more that I think when you've got a 3.5 minute track, you either need to have like a bass line shift, or you need to have just maybe like something additional to kind of sell the chorus beyond what we have within the verse, if that makes sense. Just a little bit of extra oomph just to kind of push it further outside of changes along, including the vocals, just to really kind of cement it. Or even on the second chorus, have like an additional kind of thing. Maybe like, I mean, I'm not going to tell It'sYaBoiH2 how to produce because they know what they're doing. It's just, I think a little bit extra instrumentally would have been good on that second chorus or something like that. But still, with that in mind, I appreciate the actual concept itself. I think it makes sense considering the lyrics. I think finally, again, it's the fact that they knew structurally not to go beyond this. I think there's a track coming up that's 6 minutes, like over 6 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see how we flesh that time zone out. But I just think it's smart to kind of have the wordplay, have the expression, have a couple of verses, and just not to extend beyond that. I feel like if we can encapsulate a tale within a smaller form factor and do what we need to with it, I feel like that's a lot more powerful than trying to get more real estate when I might maybe have diminishing returns. So ultimately, I think that, there was a little bit of constructive critique with that one, but overall, I'm really, really happy with it. I think it's a solid third effort. Sup Shredders, post-production Spiderhands here. Just making a small note before we continue. When I was recording this review, my understanding was there's a few tracks in this album where there weren't producers mentioned for them, and so I assumed that it was It'sYaBoiH2 who had produced them, but apparently I've been told in post that is not the case. There was another producer involved. We're just not sure who produced those tracks. So just apologies if you hear me say that It'sYaBoiH2 at any point, just letting you know, and I'll put producer unknown like with the title card here. We're just not sure who did the beat on that track, so I apologize for any inconveniences. No offense caused. It's just being straightforward about it. I just didn't know at the time of review, but enjoy. We'll go Actin Too Tough. Actin Too Tough. Let's do it. Really interesting oscillating synth concept here.
Said I'm just chilling in the building with my mind on a million, and they all say I be thinking too much. And I be thinking too much. When I see you with your image, and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real, y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting. Said I'm just chilling in the building with my mind on a million, and they all say I be thinking too much. And I be thinking too much. When I see you with your image, and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real, y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting too tough. Knock, knock, hater. Guess who's home? Who is it? Turn your ad-libs down. H2's on. That's right. I hear they booing hard whenever you's on. I'm like an alcoholic. I get the booze gone. I bump your disc to go to sleep. It's what we snooze on. Think you the hottest in the street? You wrong. You toss salad with or without the croutons. I'm ball status. Believe me, homie, the crew strong. I go crazy on the beat. Tom Cruise songs. You better pick your beat to sing the blues on. I'm white and I'm bumping. I'm running 2 zones. Black and white on the wrist. I'm rocking 2 tones. I just scream, bring it on. I don't use tones. Cause either way I leave them with a black and blue dome. And smack a few more. But try and pull a chrome. Knowing damn well you'd sing it with me if you knew the song. Just chilling in the building with my mind on
See, sorry to interrupt. It's those little explosion sounds like with that kind of like how it spreads around a stereo field when you have a new section that can make an entrance really interesting. It's these little things which I appreciate because they show, hey, we understand that we can continue to repeat an idea or a concept, but what if we added something new to let the listener know, even though they can figure it out that we're switched? It's just that little bit of extra additional affirmation there that can make a track special.
Stop acting. I was chilling in the building with my mind on a million, and they all say I be thinking too much. And I be thinking too much. Well, I see you with your image, and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real. Y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting too tough. Don't get chill with a lot of goons, but I'd rather blow these bitches up like a balloon. Keep a voodoo doll of every one of them in my room and poke them with this pen repeatedly. I'm the looniest tune. Better stand back, I'm about to kaboom and beat your ass until it's red, just like a baboon. You're breathing in the fumes, inhale all of my presence, bitching just 6 cents and hating just 7. This ain't gotta make sense, long as you don't make sense. Cause soon seeing dead people be your 8 cents. Your boy H cents, a whole lot of flogging and lanes taking shots that I be easily dodging. So what you wanted? Let's put it all out on the table. I got the skills to kill, put it all on my label. My brain will play you and dissect all of your fables. So if your focus came, then ain't none of your neighbors. Chilling in the
Interesting switch up there.
million, and they all say I be thinking too much. That I be thinking too much. When I see you with your image, and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real, y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting too.
Very cool response between those sections there.
And they all say I be thinking too much. That I be thinking too much. When I see you with your image, and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real, y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting too tough. Chilling in the building with my mind on a million, and they all say I be thinking too much. That I be thinking
How we're gonna switch things up here.
and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real, y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting too tough. Chilling in the building with my mind on a million, and they all say I be thinking too much. That I be thinking too much. Well, I see you with your image, and I heard you got your gimmicks on the real, y'all be acting too tough. Stop acting too tough.
I mean, that was fantastic. I'm really stoked about Actin Too Tough. I think that was a fantastic song. So I think this track is sort of more sort of talking about other people's perceptions of him thinking too much about that $1 million, but also Actin Too Tough in terms of other people sort of fronting when they can't back it up. Again, it's more of that kind of battle music, kind of us versus them kind of situation there. We're sort of like looking into ourselves, validating our position as a musician, showing to some sort of like introspection, whilst also understanding the people around us, even if they present or they front, that it's just a lot of it is just kind of fickle within to a certain degree anyways, if not very much the case. And, you know, like, they might be sort of like fronting, and then the other time they might be singing along to the song if they knew it, etc. You know, it kind of follows on neatly from Chase After You, I think. And I want to sort of like first of all say that this is probably one of the more interesting tracks compositionally throughout the album. I do genuinely think that It'sYaBoiH2 can produce. If I'm not mistaken, I can't see a producer feature on this one. And the other three have had. I feel like it's a strength. I understand that it can be really good to have producers work with you when you make music to get again an additional outside perspective, or maybe like a beat that is maybe better tailored for your stuff than what you might be able to accomplish. But in this situation, I feel as if It'sYaBoiH2 can handle that on their own. I think that any work with other producers is additive, you know, and in a way that I feel is positive. It's just good to know they can do it as well. So ultimately, I think part of that comes down to just a really interesting sort of synth motif at the start. It's kind of sci-fi and kind of like mysterious and quirky, but it also kind of floats around in the ether whilst being kind of weirdly bouncy. And it's just got a cool kind of futuristic feel to it there that adds a bit of tension, drama, and suspense there that I think kind of requisites what we're discussing. I think also another thing that works well within this is the use of the vocals, not only double tracking like on the sides of the stereo field just to give them extra added space within the mix, but also the call and responses where like you have the main line and then they'll repeat on the sides. I think that's really a smart decision in terms of the way we post, because it's just so easy. It's such an easy way to fill in the space. Now, I'm not saying that we haven't done that in previous tracks, but just the way it's presented here is very satisfying in addition to the others. So I feel like that in a way is another way that we continue to vary and diversify throughout our compositions, and we can do it with our own stuff as well as other people's stuff. So I feel like the actual coloration of this, as well as the way that we handle the vocals, as well as the overdubs and double tracks, etc., is fantastic. But it's also just the general sort of like quality and leveling of this track, as opposed to the previous one where I was like a little bit sort of like less kind of like favorable about the leveling. the way that you've got those kind of complicated vocal takes in various positions, the way that you've got those kicks and snares and like drum pads and samples and basses and everything like that is really solid. There's these interesting kind of wop wop kind of flubby things that are in that upper range there that are a nice transitory thing. You have the kind of boof going into the chorus section as well. So there's little bits of ear candy and decoration that can make a good track a great track. And so ultimately I feel that at this point in time, because of the attention to detail in regards to that alone, if not anything else, while the other tracks so far have been good, I think Actin Too Tough is probably my favorite so far. And I've got no complaints about it. We've got Hard to Giggle, production by Count Henny. Hard to Giggle. Fantastic kind of eerie tone to those keys.
As far as wins go, homie, yet another number. I'm wide awake and yeah, the haters gon' slumber. Make them all puke, turn them all to tub thumpers. If I get knocked down, I'm right back up. And everybody jumping like that white boy bumping. Don't know downhill, homie, I go upward. Fuck what you think, hey, you puking in the sink. Cause I hit them with too much of that southern comfort. That bitch ain't your bitch, homie, you can't trust her. For you kissed her, I face fucked her. Kicked her out the crib real quick and cussed her. It's cool to cut, but don't say you love her. Hello? See, that's her number. Anyways, Buster, can I call you Buster? Feel like I'm stuck between dumber and dumber. That's why my flow's been retarded since summer. I'm so above, and you're so under. Will I fall off? Something you should never wonder. Like a kid in the bathroom, looking at your doom. Cause when you're looking at me, bitch, you're looking at a hustle. I'm getting money now, hater, what you laughing about? You think it's funny, I give you something to laugh about. See, I can crank the gas and have you bitches passing out. It's hard to giggle with a pistol shoved up in your mouth. Getting money now, hater, what you laughing about? You think it's funny, I give you something to laugh about. See, I can crank the gas and have you bitches passing out. It's hard to giggle with a pistol shoved up in your mouth. I'm really sorry, did that first verse amuse you? Didn't mean to confuse you, so let me just abuse you and get the record straight. Yeah, this is second take, and you can watch the disc crack as the record break. Check your face before I come across it with this.
And that 808 is awesome.
My meal. I kill you like money on your head, bitch. I earn my meal. Burn the field, I lay your body in the beans. I'll never spill. Concerned, I never will, and my team will never chill. For any of these frigid haters, this the spot and we the greatest. Hunt them down and shove 20 bodies inside a refrigerator. I last like the equator, fuck around and catch the vapors. And I ain't talking bigs, we getting rid of haters quicker than they do them bricks. Screw them pricks, if your legs ain't moving like us, move them, bitch, I'll lose them shits. Like chess, my moves is quick, your chest, yeah, them twos is quick, you lose your lip, I lose my grip, you'll lose everything below your dick. Hold that thought for you have to catch your thoughts flying out your fucking lid. Bullets chasing the hit like duck, duck, goose a bitch. Run up and finish them like cut, cut, shoot a bitch.
That's cool. No, that's really cool. So I dig Hard to Giggle with production by Count Henny. I think it's more of the kind of really intense, yeah, we're dangerous and we're going to sort of fuck you up kind of mechanic there. It's more following on from that. It's hard when you to giggle when you've got a pistol shoved, like some heavy stuff, man. Some really heavy stuff. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's just more battle rap. I dig it. I mean, there's more context and nuance to it, but I feel like to go through all the different angles would be to rebut the song again, or to like kind of go through it again. And I feel like if you've heard it with me, you've heard it. So it's no laughing matter, you know. Asking if they're amused by the first verse, they're gonna get you something to laugh about. It's brutal. So I think one of the things that works with this track are the 808s. They're phenomenal. The tone of those, the way they kind of just go boom. And I know that's such a generic statement, but like it's just there's a hard hitting sort of texture to it with a really satisfying bass resonance, and it's kind of a dream 808 tone. And I love how well rounded and well behaved it is in the mix. Granted, you've got the EQing to sort of differentiate things within the frequency spectrum, and stuff is spread around the stereo field really neatly. But still, just I need to applaud the way that they have developed that tone in that. I think it's fantastic. It's just great. You could imagine that going through a car stereo system with subs and it being very, very heavy. There's also this kind of interesting airy twinkle to the keys at the start that I think kind of insinuates almost like a horror film kind of atmosphere to it. And I think when we discuss all the horrific shenanigans we're going to get up to throughout this piece, it suits that. You know, you've got the authoritative tone of the 808s and the drum kits and everything like that. But then you've also just got that kind of twinkle over top there, and it's beautiful and it glistens within the composition, but it's also invoking an understanding or a certainty that things are about to get pretty wild there. And I appreciate that one instrument can add that extra bit of flavor in amongst everything else and it be meaningful like that. Because it's not a busy track, but it's definitely full of spice at this point. You know, like moving on from that, it's the track that, you know, has this last verse section, and it's not relying on that hook or an instrumental outro to finish it. It's further context. I think that's just an interesting choice structurally, because it signifies that we feel comfortable, again, not needing to have that hook line be the last thing people hear. It's that last message there at the end. Duck, duck, goose, and shoot a bitch, etc. And it's heavy. And I appreciate the wordplay throughout it. There's a nice sort of like rhythm and kind of like the accents and the pace of it is solid, and there's great sort of like progression and an awareness of how the drums and other rhythmic elements go alongside the vocals during the rap sections. But I just think it was good to have that as a different way of ending a track in this album. So we've got range, and I appreciate that. But then we've got Prepared to Be Wowed, production by DETERMINATE Inc. This is a longer one. Already very different instrumentally.
Them haters long gone, just you and me now. So if you taking shots, prepare to be fouled. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time and only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow. Them haters long gone, just you and me now. So if you taking shots, prepare to be fouled. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time and only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow. I don't fuck with rats or the DA, but I put a hole in one like the PGA. See me spray out my way, grind so heavy, and beefing with me will turn you into a veggie. See, there's no freestyles, and you don't see smiles. Motherfucker hater, yeah, I always gotta say it, cause that's the kind of message you wanna have on repeat now. Deep in the street now, shit is unsweet now.
Very used to that bell there.
And I'ma lay a beat down, shove a whole cleat in the hole of a sweet clown. Skied in the beak of your chicken head freak now. It's both feet down and 10 high toes. When you're on your grind, can tell them where the time goes. Leave a hater with cold feet and both eyes roll. Make them wish that they never fertilized as I go. Die slow. Them haters long gone, just you and me now. So if you taking shots, prepare to be fouled. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time and only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow. Them haters long gone, just you and me
Yeah,
now.
you can justify a double chorus here.
Prepare to be fouled. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time and only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow. You can feel my lyrical vessel through the reverb and the echo. Through every that's right, come on, bow. Woo! Oh, let's go. You know the flow is so damn special. Say the day is super mental. Dig your grave, I blast these guys. My battle cries not sentimental. Swinging for the fence, so I'ma make heads roll. Get them boys a hell no. I ain't shaking hands, pre-digging ditches for these bitches. Yeah, I'm making plans. See, I'm my only clone. Told me leave homie alone, but this the shit you get for talking shit up on your phone. Now you're on your own, getting gas like Petro. Voted for Pedro, still counting pesos. And the fame moving as soon as I get a say so. Ho. Them haters long gone, just you and me now. So if you you taking shots, prepare to be foul. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time, but only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow. H2 back on his shit. Them boys like not again. What the fuck is wrong with him? Every other song with him, taking shots at us. Fuck it, dog, let him win. Every track is war like he beating on the door. So tired of it, fuck the game, let him in. All he wanna do is run it, bust a move and let him come in. Hurt it crazy with a shame. Slice your face up, poke your stomach, gliding in like Haley Comet. Crashing two, say they want it, aim his point to make his point and let it go to know you got it. A modern day prophet, and all day he gon' profit. Yeah, off of fake haters, cause they keep on making haters. So we keep on taking haters, cause he know they can't stop it. Pickpocket out your wallet, from the largest to the smallest, from the fattest to the skinny, the shortest to the tallest. He being completely honest when he say he run honest. So you can hit the trap, take a shit or take a nap, then wake up at your wake and come to see I still got it. I ain't stopping shit, I'm popping off at super high speed, like a blunt laced with LSD and super fly weed. Popping magic mushroom, you can supersize me, too huge in the street, you can never hide me. And it ain't that I'm hiding, I'm posted right here in mine. The sky's the limit and I'm just too high for you to find me, bitch.
So what are we gonna do for the next 2 minutes? We got police sirens. Very subtle riser there. Smart.
Them haters long gone, just you and me now. So if you take it shots, prepare to be foul. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time, and only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow. Them haters long gone, just you and me now. So if you take it shots, prepare to be foul. I can't be stopped, bitch. This what I need now. Ahead of my time, but only one of my kind. Prepare to be wow.
A lot of it is the sound design, isn't it? Like the way things are positioned, the way things are panned, the way things are filtered. A lot of that is what makes it kind of special. We're slow fade out. Because it's a risky thing having a long track like this in rap and hip hop. You really need to be able to carry it either by sound design or from the vocals for that 6 minutes. But I still feel as if it's a positive track. So to go into it, this is Prepare to be Wowed. Production by Determinate Incorporated Inc. Yeah, Determinate. Yeah, just making sure I had that correct. I think this is more sort of discussing their sense of uniqueness, how they want to approach things. I mean, you've got lines like, make daddy wish it never fertilized a zygote. I mean, holy shit. It's more of, again, putting ourselves in a position where we feel comfortable and stable in our career and communicating that. And really just saying, you have not met anyone like me. Every single other hater that I've dealt with in the past is nothing. I've gone beyond that. And you and me are the only people that matter now, and we're going to take this down to the wire, basically. And it's authoritative, and it's commandeering, and I think it's effective. And so, with the understanding there's more context for multiple listens, effectively, part of what works with this track is the sound design. I think there's some really interesting decisions in regards to how things are panned, how things are filtered, how things are presented with like sub and main layers. The piano takes and the reverse takes, the use of the bells as like a transitional device there, the interesting unusual tone to the drum kit there with the kicks and stuff like that being more kind of like roundish, kind of very, very kind of like short, kind of like that kind of tone there, instead of more of like a singular sound there. It's great to have a slower tempo as well, I think, because it extends and kind of elongates any sort of like it makes you be more aware of either the need to allow space or to fill it. The slower tempo with this is part of the reason why it was a longer track, But I think just the interesting synths and risers in the background, the no other ingredients here, and bits of ear candy come in occasionally, are conditional but reliable when they need to be in the main hook and verse sections. And things float when they need to, but there's also a nice amount of bass response to it, but not in the way where it's kind of like, it's a very kind of spooky sounding track with the way that things have been sort of like put forward. And you've got this kind of weird beauty with like the fizzy synth leads in the background there, playing some interesting sort of like minor and major diatonic stuff, with the police siren coming in a bit later on that break before that last hook, kind of making us wonder if there was actually a homicide that occurred. It's kind of surreal. And that's when I remember that there hasn't actually been an alternative lead, really. There's no other solo section, anything else within that 6 minutes 10. We simply have instrumental parts, verses, or choruses. And we have double choruses, and they kind of help to flesh out the 6 minutes 16. So it makes more sense that the track would be this length if it's at a slower tempo with like ample space to be able to allow things to kind of sit and kind of simmer within it. And I think that if we had tried to kind of saturate the track further with more vocal parts near the end, it would have just been a little bit too much. Like allowing for the police siren to be there by itself added a sense of intrigue. It's like, why is that occurring, you know? And it forces you to sort of think about it. But basically, when you're prepared to be wowed, this track gives you more of an insight into themselves as a rap and hip hop artist, and I think that it tells the story it needs to. It gives you enough reason to think that they're capable of more than just, you know, those 2 to 3 minute pieces, that they can allow other instrumental layers or longer sort of form factors. I think that, I don't know if this track would have benefited from having like a solo section in that like 4 to 5 minute mark. I mean, it might have been cool, but it probably would have been a different texture or tone than what you'd had within the track up until that point. So it could have just been a little bit blunt or seemed a bit superfluous. Another thing I want to sort of like give note to before we move on is the attention to detail with the specific tone choices and effects change by DETERMINATE and everyone, as well as, you know, like It'sYaBoiH2. Knowing how to not only level things within a mix and record them is one thing, but it's also knowing specifically when to allow things to repeat or to reverse, like those kind of T-takes at the 4 to 5 minute mark, to make things sort of like trippy or kind of uncomfortable, knowing how to sort of like get rid of the lower amounts so that things kind of seem a bit sort of more middle high oriented there, allowing the 808s not to be too kind of like choked or whatever in the low end, but to thud through, but not in the way where it's too sort of overwhelming to the point where it kind of makes it seem unprofessional. Having a track that is loud whilst being able to sort of niche those things within the frequency spectrum, which is another thing entirely as well. It's difficult to actually commercially produce rap and hip hop because you need to know your LUFS as well as everything required to sort of compress EQ and spread stuff around, as well as mixing that mono and stereo to get it to that point where it can be around like 7 LUFS or something like that, or 9 LUFS, like cleanly. And ultimately, I just think it's the actual like length of it, the structure of it, the way we made the most of that signal with the design choices, and the fact that we managed to keep that root note consistent for around that 6 minutes there. Boom, boom, boom. We had like 3 or notes in that bass line, and or maybe like a variation there, and that was enough. And that's kind of testament to the openness, I think, of the key signature or motif we had there. If it had been too busy or too opinionated, it might have forced us to make certain decisions that might have compromised our flexibility on the mic. But we had a theme where, again, it was the coloring and individual layers meshing together that made it special. So I think the relative platonic neutrality of that was really important. So I think, well done. It's a good effort. It's a good effort. I was wowed. We got BeZeRK, production by Too Toxic.
Well, now I guess it's about that time in the show when we give you a little backstory. Now, this isn't the beat that I put this song on. It was actually on a mixtape beat for The Education of Anthony Brown, Flatliner 5. And this actual song was recorded June 12th, 2010. Now, if you know what I know, let's go! Yeah, I'm in the building and I only say it one time. Keep it shitty in my city, yeah, boy, runs mine. Hit these bitches with the real, I ain't talking punchlines. Gangsters, gun time, rappers, lunchtime. Where my time card at? Bet I'm about to punch mine and get to work. Go berserk, your boy jerk sometime. But for what it's worth, a little dirt, I done mine. But I'm still standing here, guess that mean I done fine. So I guess you don't want
interesting panning of that clap.
So I'ma fuck the club up with all my minions. Mind on the money. money with a gun to the ceiling, and we see him ice grilling. Ain't this about a bitch? We on that pimp shit, so it's probably about a bitch. The fame be about the fame and never about a bitch. We spot a bitch, we got a bitch, she got a shot at rocking with the hottest shit in the West End. Go nod to this. You know what it is, I'ma make them go berserk. Go and milk this moment for everything that it works. Ladies, make it twerk. I see you raising your skirt. As far as the haters go, we bout to put them to work. Come on, you know what it is, I'ma make them go berserk. Go and milk this moment for everything that it works. Ladies, make it twerk. I feel you raising your skirt. As far as the haters go, we bout to put them to work. Now come on, fuck you right there. I'ma make them go berserk. I don't really like this. I'ma make them go berserk.
So much attitude to it, I love it.
I'ma make them go berserk. As far as the haters go, we bout to put them to work. Come on. This is an apocalypse for anybody popping lip. I'm not a blood, not a crip, so I ain't coming off the hip. I ain't gangster, and this ain't gang shit. But let me catch ya, and bet I bang shit. Do it on repeat, same old same shit. And I don't change shit, I just enhance. In the M, think you fucking with me a slim chance. I'm trying to get like M, give me a slim chance. I'll paint pictures for these bitches like Rembrandt. Plaques on the wall, hanging up like Rembrandt. Bitches in the area, get in your pimp stance. They don't wanna marry ya, they want in a pimp's pants. Fuck big tits, big dick, what I am playing. We ain't got a date, shit, I hate sending them plans. Instead, we just smoke and drink while we watch them dance. She mine, check her behind, bet that this bitch stank. You know what it is, I'ma make them go berserk. Go and milk this moment for everything that it works. Ladies, make it twerk, I see you raising your skirt. As far as the haters go, we bout to put them to work. Come on, you know what it is, I'ma make them go berserk. Go and milk this moment for everything that it works. Ladies, make it twerk, I feel you raising your skirt. As far as the haters go, we bout to put them to work. Now come on, fuck you right there. I'ma make them go berserk. I don't really like this. I'ma make them go berserk. When the fuck you write this? I'ma make them go berserk. As far as the haters go, we bout to put them to work. Come on. Attention, all you naysaying, hating ass, sideline, motherfucking bitch ass motherfuckers. You can go flatlinemusic.net if you want to hear the original song. June 12th, 2010. So after you do the math, maybe you'll stop being so motherfucking shady. Let's go! Let's go!
That's fascinating. That's genuinely fascinating with that really long kind of fade out there. So I think this track was more of a showcase of one of their earlier beats, because this is BeZeRK, production by Too Toxic, where they kind of talk about kind of going to their sort of like love that party vibe, get it working, etc. But it's also more of a celebration, I think, of their past work and how far they've come, kind of putting it forward and being able to listen to that original song. So it's like a celebration of their music, but also their history and the way they've come up, and the fact they've been putting in work. Talking about the math, been 15 years since then, almost 15 years since then. It's crazy, since 2010. But I dig the attitude and approach behind it. I think it was kind of cool and unique to be able to sort of show a beat that you worked on prior to this and to bring it into a modern kind of album. I mean, I think that for anyone who's not aware, music production has changed stupidly. Like, it's so different. Because I got my diploma in audio engineering and music production back in 2010. And the quality of what was available to work on back then is very different to what it is now. Like, there was just almost, studios have completely changed. In terms of the hardware that people use, in terms of the software that people use. And back then, Pro Tools was so dominant. Now it's basically a meme at this point, only used by like the more advanced in years studio engineers as well as cinema people. We've got so many other digital audio workstations now that people use. I think that it's a great way to sort of like include some of your older stuff in your music, whilst adding a bit of kind of like a bit of extra kind of spice and sauce to it, a little bit of extra personality, like rounding stuff out, adding diversity, adding a bit of sort of like uniqueness to it, because we all come from somewhere, right? So I think what I want to sort of like mention about this, outside of the fact that I just enjoy the actual approach and the purpose of this piece and what it includes, and the fact that we had more of a conversation with the listener going into it, and then sort of like mentioned we could go to the website to sort of check out what they did outside of that, It's also just that there was just a great sense of bounciness and kind of like earnest intent with it. I like the sounds that we had, the samples there. They reminded me a lot of MIDI instruments and sort of samplers and softwares in the early 2010s there. And I like that. I think that having the clap kind of go from the side, the panning of that, it's kind of unusual to have the beat go from the left into the center, but it adds a little bit of kind of like, you know, intrigue. It like piques your curiosity. Like, why have they done that? Is this kind of peppy, you know, that kind of melody in the background there that kind of gets sizzling along. And the tone of the kit's fantastic. It just kind of collides with the mix. Go dum, dum, dum. Yeah, it's got a nice kind of thud to it that sits really neatly and is nicely chained. But I think it's also just the charisma of the vocal performance that sells it. I don't think that this would have worked as well unless you'd had It'sYaBoiH2 on the mic. The way they communicate, the sounds of them, and the way they go into the upper range, and the way they speak, and the way they kind of sort of sell it to you, they communicate to you, it's just so full of energy, it's effervescent. And I just think you need to have that kind of energy when you're making music like this. You need to be passionate about your craft, and it goes beyond technique. Even creativity. It's simply that sense of humanity and sort of push behind it that can be something that people recognize. And it's not just the wordplay either, just like talking about Slim and Eminem and stuff like that. I think at one point, I don't really like that. It's like that kind of like lean on it and everything like that. It's just really cool. So I think it was the tones and textures instrumentally we used in this, alongside the purpose for including it, and the actual energy and charisma behind the vocal performance, are selling points for this piece. I'm really satisfied that I got the chance to listen to it. We've got Reposition, track number 8.
See, I know when I go, ain't nobody gon' miss me. Alone on the floor, dead, nobody with me. All across the forehead, nobody kiss me. Throw me in the hole, it's over, I'm history. I'm gon' win. And never stress a second about the business I'm in. Recognize a winner when you see
Interesting use of theremin now.
Yeah, I know you try and reposition this pin, bitch. They ask me what I'm doing, ho, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. Jumping jacks, running tracks, and ripping down your poster. Tripping over that, then fall over, the heat is on ya. I'm jacking rappers, you won't have a heartbeat on ya. Heartbeats on ya, I'm about to beat on ya and burn you at the stake. I ain't buying that Bologna. Pussy, I don't know, you better wake up with Folgers before I change my mind. Throw my cake up and fold ya and shove all your shit in one place like a folder. It's over, I told ya. Super hella pissed now, so enjoy the show. Get up and leave a bitch, get down. Super cocky with it, my head won't fit crowns. I'm just swimming in this money while you bitches just drown. See, I know when I go, ain't nobody gon' miss me. Alone on the floor, dead, nobody with me. All across the forehead, nobody kiss me. Throw me in the hole, it's over, I'm history. I'm gon' win. And never stress a second about the business I'm in. Recognize a winner when you're seeing this grid. Yeah, I know you try and reposition this pin, bitch. When you talk about Steve's pump, promise you don't know mine. Talk about these nuts and bet your hoe on mine. Look at me like he's nuts, yeah, get your own mind. Lotion made out of polish, promise that I'm gon' shine. Boys spit whole lines, had your nose in no time. Call us kinfolks, bloodlines, how I know grind. And when you think of me, you think I rap so gruesome. Bitches do anything for weed, you think I grew some. Bust a nut in her mouth while this bitch blew one. Didn't even screw one, neither get satisfaction. But just because they fuck with H, they feel like they got action. And talking back to me, how you gon' have your ass in traction? A punch is what I'm packing, homeboy. If you don't feel this, then I'ma have to load up and send your ass on a field trip. Fearless, ain't hearing shit you're saying like I'm earless. It's clear, it's my year with this shit here. I'm here, bitch, ain't horsing around. Turning these rappers into spirits so these ghosts can whisper slick shit to the bitch with the big tits. Cracker like Trisket, crack your heads like crab legs. Call me a perfectionist, never settle for half. See, I know when I go, ain't nobody gon' miss me. Alone on the floor, dead, nobody with me. All across the forehead, nobody kiss me. Throw me in the hole, it's over, I'm history. I'm gon' win. And never stress a second about the business I'm in. Recognize a winner when you're seeing this grid. Yeah, I know you try and reposition this pin.
Okay, so that was an interesting move. So that was Reposition, track number 8 for today. I think Reposition was maybe more about what they're trying to accomplish in their self-awareness of like maybe having to do this by themselves and not being able to rely on others, and the limitations of the business they're in, but also understanding that they're going to get through it regardless, be the winner. And even if they're sort of like buried alone and they have to carry themselves, they're going to find some sort of like success in the future. I think that's kind of what it's about. So yeah, it's also more of the kind of like us versus them kind of like mechanic that we have through a lot of the tracks with it, when we're basically sort of like telling other people what we'll do if they sort of like mess with our steez. But it's also like the self-awareness thing as well. So I think I'm going to take a break after this for a bit before we do the second half. But my comments on this track are as follows. I think this track does well to have a relative consistency and intensity, almost like it's calling out over the fact that they're aware that they're going to have to get through this by themselves. And just as their kind of like final kind of like statement before they potentially reposition or have to do something along those lines. And I think that that's sensible because, you know, I don't think this could have worked in a situation like Prepare to Be Wowed. We had that much space. We kind of want an onslaught in certain positions. And because you've had variation with the structure, with the length of tracks within this album, you can kind of get away with that at this point. I think maybe the prominence of this comes from like the later part of the track where we've simply got them by themselves, like with the rest of the instrumental parts coming out or fading out at that point, really trying to sort of like get that bitch on speakerphone, you know. And so ultimately I feel like for the length of it, having the vocals as a focal point, having a relative similar kind of intensity to it was a smart thing. I think also just the kind of, again, the spookiness of the theremin tone. And it just, like with the album art here with like the zombies and stuff like that here, I'll put it on the screen if not. But just there's been lots of spooky sounding tracks within this. And I kind of dig the sweetness, the weird kind of sweetness with the quirkiness of it, with the horror and the intent of it, the aggression, etc. I kind of dig the way that we choose those instruments with those tones and textures and those inferences to work alongside the subject matter, and how we're kind of keeping that consistent across the album. I think that that does show a cognizance of what's appropriate or what will kind of like work well within a wider project. And it's being able to, again, have those kind of fuzzy kind of like synths like the previous sort of like Actin 2 Tough track, where I think It'sYaBoiH2 did everything themselves as well, if I'm not mistaken. We have a similar kind of thing, a preference and approach to how we like our songs to sound there. I like, again, the bounce in this, the clicky kind of hi-hats and everything like that, the snares, etc., the bass, etc. It's all good. It's all valid. But I also appreciate that we're cognizant of the fact that we need to sort of adjust structure and have parts where there is nothing going on necessarily apart from the vocals earlier than the end as well. And we add variation despite a similar theme by, again, as I mentioned in previous tracks, adjusting the instrumental layers. It's just also good that we're keeping this consistent across the album as well. In fact, generally, I think that, you know, my comments on a lot of these tracks have mostly been the strength of the vocal performance, the energy, the charisma behind, as well as the polish on the microphone, whether it's sort of like the kind of sung or spoken or rap parts there and the intent behind it, and the consistency combined with the quality of the different, the overall sort of like percussive beats and grooves, in addition to like the way the basses have been handled and stuff. There have been differences between producers and how they've approached these different instruments and ideas, as well as the structures and stuff like that. But I think it's just been good that It'sYaBoiH2 can kind of couple what they do with those other producers as well to kind of have a similar feel across it, not just because of the certain instruments, but also it's stuff about how like the vocals are produced and stuff like that with the backing tracks and the double tracking, etc., and the cooler responses. There's things within these first 8 tracks that I think sell the remaining 8, and I go into this next half feeling like I'm in a strong position to enjoy my time with it. We're going to give our thoughts on the overall conclusion at the end, but at this point in time, I'm happy with it. I feel like I have a good understanding of the approach with their music and their personality and the idea behind the project. So I'll see you in part 2 in a moment. And we are back with track number 9, They Be Like, production by It'sYaBoiH2. It's ominous, isn't it?
Ladies looking so hard that it smear their eyeshadow. Some days just for fun I battle with my shadow. Her body move like a snake and I'ma make her mind rattle. Drop my gavel, I've been judging since scene one. Smart ass like me, boy you ain't seen one. Thinking cap on, yeah you seen it, the green one. Brainiac in every track since the day I begun. Don't follow leaders, be one, cause all these fevers be from fame spitting heat. Your guess was Zac Efron? I'm effed up, Efron. I never get slept on. Woke up, got dressed, left the house with no Teflon. Beat started skipping, I said fuck this shit and kept going. Creeping on a come up, so don't get crept on. My guts kinda clumped up, don't get crapped on. You about Superman and shit, I'm about green like Krypton. Like flowers is a place you can plant tulips on. They say you on your job, H, and ain't nobody stopping ya, stopping ya. They be like, damn, how you get that bad chick on top of ya, top of ya.
Great use to call and response with the delays.
Running the game like a mafia, like a mafia, like a mafia. And they be like, dawg, ain't nobody topping ya, topping ya. I can't recycle shit, I gotta waste them all. Bodies pile up like I copy and paste them all. Serving whoppers, you ain't got what it takes to brawl. Worm food, the way these bitches ate the soul. Take this all and loosen up a beat to ride on. Fucking up the track like I had the glide on. Hit the same bitch from the back that you had your eye on. Hide and seek in the studio, she had the mic gone. Think I'm flogging, hypothesizing that I'm wrong. Check the playback, bet your ass I had the mic on. Screaming I'm strong, so deep and I'm long. Couldn't speak like she was fucking me while sucking my clone. I'm gone.
Okay. It's just a great use of space there, you know. Very finite. Very final. Is this the first time we've had an electric bass as opposed to an 808 or something along those lines? Interesting sequenced vocal chops here. And that's They Be Like, again, production by It'sYaBoiH2. So this was a kind of a very spooky sounding track. It's kind of sinister with the theme and motif behind it. The story itself, I think, is more someone asking, you know, It'sYaBoiH2, how they got to the position they're in, about their interactions with other people, specifically talking about women and stuff like that. I like the wordplay. Her body moves like a snake and I'm gonna make her mind rattle or something like that. It's clever stuff, you know, fighting with his own shadow as if he's got no other people to compete against. But he's pile up like I'm copy and pasting them all. It's interesting stuff. Like I do appreciate the flow there, and the kind of sense of humor behind that as well, I think is solid. I think it's also sort of like reinforcing like a slightly different angle of more of a conversation with someone else about how they got to where they are, in addition to everything else. And their interactions with the woman around them and how they kind of, you know, how they kind of cover that. It's basically about not just how they're sort of like asking him how they kind of do things with like women and everything else, but they're also talking about the woman that, going behind the woman that they had their eye on, etc. You know, it's a similar stuff to what we discussed previously. I think one of the things that work here is simply that at the end, around that 2-minute mark, when we stop rapping and he's out, he's done, you're kind of just left with things being left as they are. And it's kind of powerful just to have a solid 55 seconds of instrumental backing there, as if we're comfortable enough with what we've done on the microphone to be able to sort of justify that and not need to go further with it. I think that's cool. It's also a kind of spooky, mysterious, ethereal theme behind it. There's like a bob kind of sequenced vocal chop there with the 1, 2, 1 and 2, and I wonder if it's 1, 2, so like an 8th note groove on that. With like fairly authoritative kick and bass combination there with some interesting electric bass occasionally, some other sort of shimmers and sort of like pads or sub leads in the ether on sides in the upper range. Things are colored, but it's not it's kind of almost weirdly empty and ghostly sounding with the way things kind of like drift around the place. Especially when we move towards more of a cymbal and chop and focus near the end of the track there, you really do get a feel for things, how they're floating. And I just think that's a sort of an interesting impression to have from a beat or sort of like riff perspective. And it's great that things are compelling as they are with the vocals as without. But I think finally, again, it's just a continued solid level of production with the mixing and mastering throughout the piece there. It sounds commercial grade here. I'm happy with the polish of things. In general with the filtering and stuff. And there's just enough sort of like dynamic range to give it a sense of life and purpose within it as well. It's exactly what you'd want if you were listening to a song for the first time. The production is the impression and things were very well handled here. And how taking away layers as we go towards the end of the track is just a nice sort of natural way to sort of make it seem like it's fading out, even if we're not having a literal kind of like transition with the volume automation. We got Tougher, production by Destiny Beats. Track number 10.
Here they go against the fence, boys acting tough again. I scare these characters, new era's what I usher in. Sam Jackson flow, motherfucker say what again? Claiming they a snowman while I make a slush of them. H pipe them down, why your main lady puffing him? Go hard all day, ain't nobody fluffing him. See that's just a toughen him, cause he with the best of them. You ain't interested in him, so go sit with the rest of them. Why would you even pester him? They know I'm Wild West in them. They won't let me in cause I work harder than a Mexican. I'm hitting on your sister, for you know it, I'm your next of kin. You'll hate me at first, but by the end we be the best of friends. In that case, I guess I win the building, I forget I'm in. Been down for war since day of birth, head to head like Siamese twins, and I ain't gotta have the gloves. Punches, I got plenty, them, and Curtis ain't on his job, let me take on the minute. Cause I'm tougher, and I'm stronger, that's right. And unlike y'all, I'ma last longer. Come on. See, I'm a monster, yeah, I go harder. You might go far, but I go farther. Let's go. I go above and beyond. I'm about to bring a storm, right. Cause I don't really be on all that shit that y'all be on. I go above and beyond. I'm about to bring a storm, right. Cause I don't really be on all that shit that y'all be on.
I hate to say this, it still sounds like in some of these tracks that the vocals are just a little bit prominent. I'd probably need to listen to these tracks through multiple different sets of headphones and speakers in order to really quantify that or qualify that, but I fear that might be the case. And the vocals sound great. I like the push and approach to them, and there's still a bit of chaining going on with the percussion, but I'm just mentioning that for transparency.
They don't know what war about. H is on the foreign route. You can hear the Spartan shout. Fuck boy, go ahead. Hey, you're soaking in co-red. Stick your nose up in my biz, cut you off like a blowhead. Can't hear them cause they so scared, so frozen, upset. Gon' push them over. Aw shit, them hoes is so dead. See your boy so smart, them other cats so fled. Break into your house and you wake up with them in your bed. Told her take her time, cause I really love slow head. Decapitation, make it last like I took a whole head. I'm calling all the shots around here. I am so head of the table, so unstable I might go upside your head. Fuck cable, I'm a satellite, expanding out my right to write about what I like, who I don't, and up the price to get them hype. This is just some simple thought, not as deep as what is life. Just know I'm coming for your spot, get on your job, it's mine. Cause I'm tougher, and I'm stronger. That's right. And unlike y'all, I'ma last longer. Come on. See, I'm a monster, yeah, I go harder. You might go far, but I go farther. Let's go. I go above and beyond. I'm about to bring a storm, right. Cause I don't really be on all that shit that y'all be on. I go above and beyond. I'm about to bring a storm, right. Cause I don't really be on all that shit that y'all be on. Nah.
And they're out. How are we going to develop for this 40 seconds? It's a pretty simple motif with the keys, the Bordermino synth, the bass and drums. It's nice to have the reverb tail just kind of peter us out there. I think that was a smart move there. I think with some tracks we've kind of been very much kind of keeping things going kind of like static, like pushing forward right until the end and then suddenly the track stops. But it's nice to allow things to kind of fester out a little bit, even though the fester isn't a really good word for that. I like those synths. The soft kind of fluty synth was beautiful. But this was tougher with production by Destiny Beats. I think this track was about sort of discussing getting with their like person's sister or something like that and becoming family and becoming the head of the table and that they're tougher than they are and that they're going to take over and have control and everything like that. and that they're going to make songs about what they want and do what they want, etc. I think that again, it follows on from what we've had previously. It's a different angle. I think if this is aimed at a specific person, that person is probably feeling a little quite insecure at this point, you know, not to mess with It's Your Boy H2. I dig it. There's more to it than that. You know, talk about like satellites and everything like that. Then there's further wordplay to this. I appreciate it. I think that it's so important to have a sense of humor, but also to be kind of direct with this kind of stuff. You need to just try and find a balance between the two. And I think that we do that. I think one of the things I like about this is that we are so intent and intense vocally within parts of this, and we've got such a great energy about it. But it's also done the way where it meters out some of the humor with the seriousness of what we're discussing. I like that we can find a nice sort of equilibrium in regards to the expression there. I think it can be very difficult to balance those two, and it does put you in a box. With that, It's Your Boy H2, they know how to navigate that effectively, and I just think that that's a really smart decision there across the vast majority of this album that we've listened through today. I think it's also the interesting use of instruments there. There's like these pretty chord note accents with the keys there, but that kind of sad sounding flute there, almost like a war sign or something like that. Someone playing that instrument before a beatdown or a showdown. It's kind of exotic as well in a sense, like it can transcend the boundaries of that. Like I like that we're using different tones and instruments within this, and we're not sticking to a similar set of more sort of like comfortable, more sort of like contemporary synths and bass, like simply 808s and drums. We had like electric basses and other parts before. We'll use a variety of different drum kits and different bass tones and different synth leads. And we allow ourselves to stick to rhythmic fundamentals as well as remaining within the diatonics of the scales and keys, but we put effort into making each track unique. I think finally it's the fact that, again, this was 3 minutes 10. There have been some tracks within this album where they've been very short and others have been longer. And I think that this is one of those songs where it kind of came in, we had a concept, we made a quick form, and then we bounced. Kind of like the previous one, Day Be Like, where we just left at the 2 minute something mark. And I maintain that structurally, if you can communicate that within the piece, if you can say what you want to say and not over explain it, it's incredibly effective. I just think we are continuing to handle that very, very well. And that consistency is important and respected and appreciated. It's not that I don't want to hear more of It's Your Boy H2, but it's that if we know that this is our specific moment to kind of discuss this one thing, especially when it can arguably be considered to be similar to other things we've discussed within this album, it's just that extra shade that we're showcasing there, and then we bounce out. So I think ultimately, it's just another fine addition to the stock. We got ICPJ, production by Big Cawk Beats. It's gorgeous, dude. Really interesting sound design there with those textures in post. Very different style.
Yeah, buddy, H is at the tip top. Life is such a beach. Gangster rappers rocking flip-flops. Where they do that? Maybe it's just part of swag. Well, in that case, let me get my bombing back. I don't want no part of that. You can have it, buddy. All my buddies flip money around here like a dolphin ass with that autograph. But I don't, I'm honest at a level. Nobody make a mess of nobodies. They nothing but cold bodies. Somebody get the body back. Saw them boys bought your swag, then they came and brought it back. Said the shit short circuit every time they try to rap. Tell them that I'm built to last, saying that you're cooking up. You can't even steal a glass or a pot or a pan. Mama get you by the collar, kick you out the kitchen. Damn, on the grind, here I am. 100 still I am. Got that boom boom pow, hit 'em with the will I am. And yo bitches in the street more than you bitches be. Passing out a beaver and you think I really give a damn? Haters try to blow smoke. All I really feel's the fans. Grown men shitting on my name. Boy, you need to binge. I'll spit on dicks and sit on nuts while y'all get fucked by all your friends. Claiming that your city real is Gotham is. I'm wanted for the hardest hits. These motherfuckers scared. Gotta hit out on my head cause they don't really want a part of this. Run up in your apartment, bitch, and I ain't wanting rent. Say I'm crazy on the beat, but I'm still talking sense. Circle around tents in the forest, following y'all whores. Stick you on my stick, let your body drip like a hot s'more. She beating on the window, screaming, please unlock the car door. But no means yes, so I'm pretty sure that she want more. Well, bet then I got more. For who
you ever want more? You say you're doing you, well H2 do more. You say you're shooting threes, check this, I'm shooting 4G, County, Tennessee, repping it in true form. I spit a universe and watch how the boots soar. Fill a chick mouth up, till she say a tube sore. Turn that grindhouse up, YouTube views galore. Hate seeing my face, well maybe we could shoot yours.
So is that a through composed piece for this? So this was an interesting song. It kind of went more so over the destruction of a person. How their woman came to them and was banging on that car door saying they wanted more. Almost the way they don't care about those, like they're just doing what they want. They've stopped giving a fuck about it. Like in the sense that they're over caring too much about whatever people think. And this is more of an exploration of that journey that they had when someone went up against them and kind of bouncing off of that. It's interesting. He talks about how everyone's sort of fucking each other over and everything like that. It's kind of brutal and sad. It's a sad song. Like, I get that there's the aggression and the kind of like force and fury behind it and the intent. And we're there to kind of like kick ass and take names. But just the theme behind it, those wonderful kind of like ghostly synth pads and the slow attacks on them are just so weirdly peaceful. There's a minor leaning key and orient to them that I think illustrates a sense of almost like loss that we have, which is a really interesting thing when considered with the subject matter of the lyrics and stuff like that. But I think that the most aggressive thing about this is probably the vocal style there. They form a nice contrast with the intended expression and with no harsh edges really in the backing arrangement. It's just an interesting ambience that's put forward by Big Cawk Beats, you know, because we continue with the bombastic nature of those drums, the kicks and the snares and everything like that, and we have some interesting quarter, eighth, and 16th note grooves, and I appreciate the production within this, and the actual instrumental layering within this piece, and the way that the vocals maintain presence. Even when the vocals are in a kind of unusual position, they're on the sides of the stereo field. I'm not really used to vocals being that far apart when we double track them, but it was, I suppose that's one thing I've got to sort of give a shout out for, is the interesting choice production-wise, but I'm also not sure if I really like it. It just sounds like it's like we made the deliberate decision almost to have multiple voices on the same subject. I think part of it, what I appreciate, is the fact that it was through composed. Though it was nice to have that structural variation, to have more of a kind of a more fleshed out topic without needing to rely on a hook line to keep people engaged. I think at this point within the album, you know, you can probably get away with that. You can probably get away with trusting that people won't need to be hooked in by a hook line in order to hear you spit for more than 2 minutes in a row. But I think generally, yeah, it was the double tracking the vocals and how interesting it was to have them split like that in a way that was very distinct from previous parts of the track and therefore stood out, but in a way where it kind of gave a huge amount of dimensionality and scope to it, with there being a fine line, but also just, again, the through composed surgery and also the interesting, really beautiful, gorgeous sound to those synths there, specifically texturally and tone-wise. I love the pieces. And it just continues to hold on like a kind of a vaporwave-ish kind of approach. I think that's the word I was going for. So I appreciate the vaporwave with the rap. It's dope. I dig it. Well done. It's an interesting sort of combination, but we've got What We Like produced by Anno, Domini. Track number 12. Smashing through it, dude.
See, I do what I like when H2 on this mic. And girl, you looking right. We can hit the town tonight. They on the sideline waiting. We can sit them down tonight. Make a bunch of lefts while we blow a pound of right. Cruising super slow, chillin' blowing smoke. Riding by them folks while you give me hell a throw. Laugh about it like a joke. Limits there are no. We living on the edge cause we know we in control. We got money to blow and time to just kill. We know what they want and we know what we will. Just for a pick me up, pretend that we fall. Going just a window shopping, bet we spend it all. See, we can go here or we can go there. While all them broke bitches ain't going anywhere. I said we can go here or we can go there.
Nice simple hook line.
We can do what we like. We can do what we like. We can do what we
we like, we can do what we like. Yeah, so if you like shopping and I like shopping, then we can both shop until we drop and we can do what we like. We can do what we like, we can do what we like, we can do what we like. Yeah, so if you like shopping and I like shopping, then we can both shop until we drop and we can do what we like. So if you wanna travel, then baby we can travel. Ride the open highway, all the way to gravel. Take it to another level, mean another level. Cause we know where we going like a deal with the devil. So the top where we sitting, but to settle we can never. Cause the higher we get, it's like it just gets better. And sometimes we dabble and we add another member, but nobody do it better when the two of us together. It's whatever, better bet we hit the mall and it's a wrap. Leave about that bitch rockin' this and rockin' that. Then we hit the grip, she let me rock her like a hat. Call me daddy on top while she rockin' back. Yeah, we into all of that wild, crazy, kinky shit. Making out in the club, music playing, drinking shit. And we both flirt, so of course you know we mingling. But it's obvious when it's over who we both be sleeping with. See, we can go here, or we can go there.
And back to the hook, nice.
Broke bitches ain't going anywhere. I said we can go here, or we can go there. Well, all them broke bitches ain't going. We can do what we like, we can do what we like, we can do what we like, we can do what we like. Yeah, so if you like shopping and I like shopping, then we can both shop until we drop and we can do what we like, we can do what we like, we can do what we like, we can do what we like. Yeah, so if you like shopping and I like shopping, then we can both shop until we drop and we can do what we like.
And we're out. We're just done. I mean, it's just been so full of context for a lot of it. Oh. Are we having a solo section? I love it. So that was What We Like, production by Anno Domini. So I think, first of all, shout out for having a solo section at the end. Just going to get one of the things I appreciate out of the way for this track is that solo section. I like that we just had a different instrument coming to the forefront in that last gap and doing something a little bit unique that kind of separates ourselves from the vocal orient that we had throughout most of it. It's not that I don't want to hear more from It'sYaBoiH2, but it's good to just have a little bit of exploration of other instruments that could potentially be playing melodies in that same range there, and that guitar, which has been there for most of the song, it's something that we can naturally develop. It's really good. It's cool. I liked that. So I think that's fantastic to have that at the end. It's just another way to make a structure of a track more interesting, is to have a different sort of instrumental, not just an instrumental, but like a lead instrumental section. It doesn't have to be an 80s shred solo, but just something a little bit, even if it's like mirroring some of the vocal ideas that we had, like the melodies within the vocals, you know what I mean? It's just good we had that. I think this is more sort of discussing what we would do with the woman that we're with. You know, there's a lot of stuff about the kind of sex that they would have, about going shopping and everything like that. Unlike those broke bitches who couldn't do it, we can do whatever we like. And I think that that's kind of like a fantasy that a lot of people have. It's just being able to do whatever you like, you know? And I dig that. I think it's a song that people are going to get behind. I think there's a reasonable amount of stuff within here that people are going to get behind. Maybe not so much songs like Anthony Ray when they're not Anthony Ray. But like that, what we like is a bit more open. I think part of what kind of helps to open that up as well is what we're discussing with the more sort of traditional contemporary structure to it, with the actual verses and choruses as well. I'm not saying that all successful songs need to have that. It's just like going back to that hook line just seems to work for like pop and rap music. And I think this song is a little bit more kind of gentle than maybe some of the other tracks we've had within this. So I appreciate that. I think it's good. Maybe, you know, the subject matter isn't for kids, you know, don't get me wrong, not that it has to be, but you know, just like to have the theme be a bit more like kind of major-ish and minors and diatonic, but more of sort of like a hopeful leaning to it. And I think aside from the structure of it and the guitar part with the solo I like, I'm not sure what else I could necessarily note here that is additional to a lot of the comments I've had about tracks within this album. Within a 16-track album, you're bound to have multiple similar comments that you'd repeat throughout. So I'm going to try not to sort of repeat myself too much here. It's just more that I feel like there's nothing here that I feel is uninteresting or, you know, that leaves me wanting more. I feel like it's another angle here. I think that any sort of like feedback you can give in regards to the subject matter or anything like that is more subjective. So a final note on what we like, just while I remember, we can go here and then we can go there. It's just that playfulness about it, which I appreciate there. I think that's an interesting angle, not something we've had there. I just wanted to mention that. I was halfway through getting started on Portrait of Power, but just wanted to mention that before we moved on. But we got Portrait of Power, track number 13. Legion Beats. I love the tone of those synth pads there. Little plucks in the background.
And the haters keep watching. They know they can't stop it. Anybody in our way we devour. As long as the clock ticking, the fame keep winning. Watch the stack up by the hour. I hold the crowd in my hand as loud as I can. What you're looking at's a portrait of power. I'm the master of ceremonies, accept your early condolence for this beat. I know I killed it, I just got lost in the moment. In my gut, I had this feeling I knew that I shouldn't go with. But because it's me, guarantee them regardless, they gon' notice. H ain't with that whole shit, fill my plate with more shit, so I can fill they face with fresh up out the ocean blowfish. So if you full go shit, I'll float off on some ghost shit. One feature from me and your shit is no longer yo shit. Suck a neck like yo shit, can't nobody stop me. I carry all these rappers around like Tamagotchi. Shut them up and make them take it in the face like Kobayashi. And your chick wanna suck me while I shoot a shot of sake. So who would think they got me? Take a second and just watch me. When they see what I do, bet they all are hollering at me. Every verse you got is sorry. I pass go and holler Yahtzee, blowing up and showing out, coming down like kamikaze. As long as the clock ticking,
and back to hook.
Keep winning, watch a stack up by the hour. And the haters keep watching, they know they can't stop it. Anybody in our way we devour. As long as the clock ticking, the fame keep winning, watch a stack up by the hour. I hold the crowd in my hand as loud as I can. What you're looking at's a portrait of power. See, I'm just trying to kill the mic and birth a little currency. Closed curtain serpents in the currents trying cursing me. Reoccurring certainly, but that shit ain't dispersing me. I hold it down like an anchor man. Ron Burgundy, I see him hamburgling, wanting beef for it. Well, if you got some words for me, then I got a thesaurus. Better aim for it or shut up and bang the chorus. Cause rappers get extinct for trying to be a gangstasaurus. I'ma paint the forest with the blood of the innocent. They ain't mean to diss me at first, but they got into it. And just the thought of my response has got these boys trembling. I cut their balls off and serve them to them like Wimbledon. Frighten little women with brightly colored fingertips. I leave a hole in them big enough that you can finger it. Running up just to knock them out on some Jerry Springer shit. Competing with some retards, H's on some ringer shit.
Holy shit, that just got wild at the end, man. Hole big enough to finger him. Like, oh, I don't know how to respond to that. That's brutal. It's cutthroat. Portrait of Power. Portrait of Power. Basically, more of sort of like an understanding that you need to know. The way they roll as musicians, as rappers, hip-hop artists, as rappers, as musicians. They are the Portrait of Power. They're going to steamroll and devour anyone in their way. And they're going to spray the blood of the forest with the blood of the innocent. There's almost kind of like a suaveness to the way that we start the piece with those those oscillating synthesizers there, those pads. And I kind of dig the plucked there's a kind of these plucked instruments as a sub layer when it comes into the vocal part. It kind of works with the kind of like traditional, there's a traditional Japanese instrument like a shamisen or something like that, like a plucked one, and it kind of sounds a little bit like that. When we talk about spraying the blood of the innocent and stuff like that, it's like, imagine them going through them with swords or something like that. It's kind of intriguing. I just dig that connection there between maybe the instrument choice and some of the stuff we're discussing with the subject matter. A little use of the kind of video gamey kind of riser as well was kind of neat, how it kind of flutters up in certain positions there to kind of let you know, hey, we're switching to a new part now. That was just a really cool little indicator to let you know that we're moving forward with the next part, or to sort of switch or kind of flesh things up a little bit, as well as having like less of a bass response to certain parts, or not the drums having you push forward, something to allow things to float a little bit. Again, these are comments I've made in previous tracks, but I feel the need to sort of keep them here because they're just done in different ways, you know. But yeah, ultimately, I think the production in general is tight here. The last few tracks, I think, have been really well balanced with the vocals and stuff. It's just certain tracks on this where I felt like the vocals are a little bit too prominent. But what I want to sort of mention is, just to be clear, everything else, all the different synths and plucked parts and bass and drums, etc., especially within this track as well as a lot of others, have been meticulous. So I appreciate the attention to detail there. I do like a lot of the work that we're doing in regards to having all these different identities and personalities within these tracks. And I do feel that It'sYaBoiH2 is really competent at finding a way to put themselves into the shoes of that song in a way that is appropriate and adds a sense of chemistry to it. So yeah, no, really well done. Again, this is the first 13 tracks of this with 3 to go. Really solid. We got track number 14, Go the Distance, production by It'sYaBoiH2. We're getting familiar with him at this point, aren't we?
Spit it how I live it, every flow is so prolific. If a chance comes up to make it, gotta take it if I get it. Gotta be firm if it's my turn, then I've earned no room for slipping. And if the other side is tripping, then I have to be the difference. And spit it slicker than bacon grease, break bread without making peace. For these fake ass rappers in front of cameras acting saying cheese, they live in lands of make believe. Y'all the ones they hate to please, greater across the face of these haters. I just be hating these. Pull it back, take a squeeze, they disappear like make believe. I'm with the team that never dreams, always got a scheme for cream. And if you think to interrupt in your gut with triple beams, triple team, keep them things not so big, increase the G's. Falling is in a molecular structure, increase the G's. Always wanted to take me a try, just losing my mind as a psychoman scientist. No one that lives on the earth is as tight as this dick with a roar on a search for a line. It's mega upload, hole through a hole, go down low. Watch as I pirate design, not shot.
He's so quick, isn't he?
To say that you're hot, knowing you're not. I slide in your slot like I slide in your slut. One day you'll learn, motherfucker, don't lie. To stay age, you need a psychiatrist. I say I'm fine with this, always on grind with this. Better with time with this, longer the verse, more that it hurts, better the rhyme it is. Grab me a weapon and make them just slip at this. You sound much better whenever they flip you this. I know you're pissed at this, you cannot get with this. I'm the man, I'll be damned, so I have a glance. Cannot even spit with this, I am the shit with this. You sound like shit with this. Burn, I'm a tropical short and the populace. My hypothesis, no one as hot as this.
I apologize, I'm not sure what the lady is saying, but I want to sort of preface that it's probably going to be one of the things I discuss. I appreciate having a different vocalist doing a part in the hook of this track.
See, no one can test it, you better respect and perfect the method of being the best, and I crush competition. You better just listen to mention submission. I'm lethal injected, put death in my vein. Stress on my name, bless them with pain. Nothing less than one of the best, above all the rest. I've come to address a statement that's made that age is afraid of fortune and fame. Torture these lanes for what they are saying. You can be slain for that one opinion and have an incision from heart to the brain. Part of the game, better be praying that H is playing. Whenever he's praying, displaying, he'll scatter parts of your brain. I'm partnered with Satan, the deal has been made. No offers come after, please pardon the laughter. I never shed tears when it comes to fear. The fear is here, I'm more than a factor, I'm more than a rapper. I'm student and master, too good for disaster. I'm moving and faster each minute that passes. I'm here for the masses, I guarantee I can take all of the heat. If you're aiming at me, just hand me the matches. I'm just that hot, burn up the charts. Watch your boy elevate out of the ashes. I'm fogging the glasses to rub out these faggots. Your boys done had it, what I do is magic. Never again will they have the advantage to downplay what I say. I have the advantage to take all these rappers and fill up my sandwich with bread that I make from my lyrical status. The outcome is tragic, my skill has been mastered on the dotted line. Ahead of my time, so it's time to really come catching and make this shit happen for me and my team. To live up a dream that we all have in the lay in a hammock while money is stacking. All cause of a passion, life is so lavish. All set forever and never look back again.
How are they making that lady's voice? Is it really interesting tone to that lady's voice there, eh? Okay, so that was Go the Distance. I think it's firmly sort of like in that ballpark with a lot of tracks where we're kind of more, with there being nuance and additional information, of course, being discussed, where we're talking about as a rapper, as a musician, as a person, we are not only going to be able to make the distance, we are going to decimate anyone that comes in our, goes against us in terms of our career or maybe in terms of life and stuff like that, and we are going to move forward and achieve it better than anyone else, and no one will be able to dictate who we are anymore because we will have the advantage and we'll eat the bread from what we've made and etc. And it's just, I think the only comment I'd say or make at this point, after having listened to the vast majority of this album, is I feel like I'm reasonably familiar with that at this point. I feel like this story has been told with different angles, but as a listener, I am comfortable with the knowledge that I have been provided. And so I suppose if there's any sort of feedback in regards to the subjects that we can discuss, knowing as well that it's more, people are more than welcome to make an entire album discussing this kind of stuff. It's just, I would potentially like further diversity about what we want to discuss. I just feel like more songs about this could potentially be kind of like muddying my understanding of the album as a whole, as opposed to if the next two tracks are about other distinct things that occurred, it might be more interesting because it'll be new stuff, if that makes sense. I have to be really careful with this kind of stuff. That's not to diminish. And I know there's further context, and I've said nuance a lot, further information, and there's various angles and blends to it, but that's just my thoughts, just being transparent. I think, again, as I mentioned throughout the review, one of the things I appreciate here is that we have a lady vocalist, and they're talking about singing about when the sun goes down. It's a very kind of softly spoken, softly sung, peaceful tone to it that is in that upper register there, and it's very kind of fluffy and cloud-like, and it's fragrant, and it's a nice contrast to what It'sYaBoiH2 sounds like. Like it's way less percussive. And so I think that when you have the lady singing, you have It'sYaBoiH2 handling the verses and stuff with that really great triplet flow, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's a change there, and then like things are less predictable with regards to the way you expect things to go vocally. I think it was great to go with a triplet flow for a lot of the verses and other parts within this. It wasn't a consistent triplet flow, which I appreciate, because I think having for like a straight 3 to 4 minutes would be too much. It's nice to have little breaks and moments to kind of like calibrate and form the sentences and stanzas, etc. It felt natural and like polished and comfortable for It'sYaBoiH2 to do that. And I like that we're approaching the way we sort of like phrase and put these lines forward a bit differently to a lot of the other albums, a lot of the tracks within this album, should I say. And I think those are my two main comments about this. I think it was kind of a ballsy move, I suppose, to comment on the beginning of the track. The beginning of the track is straight into it. It kind of hits you in the face with its intensity. There's no mucking around. I suppose that's a positive as well. In this day and age, with how sort of attention deficit things are with people, in music, because there's just so much music. How do you get people's attention? You really do need to hook them somehow, and that's how you would do it. It's just to kind of push the music at them. And as long as it sounds sweet and inviting, a lot of the time people will be keen. Depending on like the target audience of the people that are into music and stuff like that, you've just got to figure out the Da Vinci Code for that. And I feel like we cracked it with this one. It was just a really intriguing start to it. And then we kept going into the end in a way that was quite pleasurable, despite how intense it was at times. But I think this is something I'm used to within this album at this point now. So it's balanced. We got track number 15, When the Night Fall. Almost kind of like a music box, eh? Nice sub, bass flutters.
Nightfall, nightfall, nightfall. And you're tucking in your kids. We be on the grind, dog. Just try and hit a lick. So if you want a war with us, bring it. That's what your ass gon' get. Ain't no hold or controlling us, nah. cause we run this shit.
I dare somebody try to reach and eat up off my plate. They'll get stabbed in the hand and cut across the face. Cause eating my food will only leave you with the worst taste. You know that dirt taste from a homemade grave. Have you locked in a box like a homemade slave. I can take y'all cake, believe it ain't nothing. Lyrically I'm in the spot to become a fucking glutton. Yeah, push my fucking button, see if I don't start dumping. Got an Uzi hocking loogies, call that bitch pumpkin. Told that boy stop, but he still went and done it. Damn, now I gotta hit him while he's still running. Shoulda aimed waist up, wasn't trying to fuck your face up. Now the blood, sweat, and tears done smeared your makeup. Y'all acting hard, it ain't over till I say cut. Fuck it, I let the mortician fix your face up, and I'll be hopping on a jet headed to Jamaica.
See when the nightfall,
Shit.
and you're tucking in your kids. We be on the grind, dog. Just try and hit a lick. So if you want a war with us, bring it. That's what your ass gon' get. Ain't no hold or controlling us, nah. Cause we run this shit.
I got them begging me up overseas, man, they know I'm dope. They know I go so many speeds, I had to switch the flow. Try to touch me on the beach, your ass will hit the flow. You need to kill yourself, here I'll even hand you the rope. Besides the one and only, I'm a real shit starter. I always go hard and I never get softer. Keep beating on you while you hang like a piñata. Feel like it's my duty to expose any imposter. So what you want, sir? I got all kinds of beef, and I got lines to knock out all kinds of teeth. Nines the flamethrowers, we got all kinds of heat. And you gon' need a wake, we gon' get you all kinds of sleep. I'm split down the middle, don't know which side of me's better. If you get split down the middle, they'll have to sew you together. You play boy like Hefner, I'm sick. I'm trying to tell you, scatter your parts in the street until you get your shit together.
See when the nightfall, and you're tucking in your kids. We be on the grind, dog. Just try and hit a lick. So if you want a war with us, bring it. That's what your ass gon' get. Ain't no hold or controlling us, nah. Cause we run this shit.
So this is how it feels to be boss like. To have a buzz moving quicker than the speeds of crosslight. Stunting like a half pipe, higher than a hash pipe. The way the hood love me, sometimes I feel half white. But that's life, homie, gotta get in where you fit in. Unless I put you in your place, then that's where you're sitting. Nope, I never give in, earthquakes couldn't budge me. My flow's like the bitch you fucked last night, ugly. I'm classic like rugby, money like Gumby. I'm in a bubble full of hustle, y'all can't touch me. Bitches and bitch rappers, they all wanna fuck me, and it's so disgusting how easy it is to shame you. Your face alone tells me you know who the skills were gave to, while your friends are like, work with what God gave you. There's really no advice for anybody facing age 2, except to go fuck yourself with the same cock that made you. Ugh.
Those synth brasses at the end of the bang, bang. I mean, it's like ferocious. We are not letting up. We are consistently ferocious, even through these last few tracks on the album. So this one was kind of more fun, I suppose. It was talking about how during the night when you were tucking in your kids, they were going to go and do all this stuff. And then you got to be careful who you screw with, because if you mess with the wrong crowd, you're gonna have a rough time. And I kind of look at the cover art again of the people, the people with the masks and everything like that, and you kind of go, it's ferocious, it's scary, like the zombies and the skeletons and stuff like that are gonna come out. And I like that. I think it's a cool sort of little addition and an inclusion there. The use of the music box at the start of the track there was kind of cool. It let you know it was like nighttime, and then he's kind of whispering as well, kind of let you know, tucking in your kids. It's like kind of menacing, it's like almost like, yeah, I know that you're doing that parent stuff, but we're doing the heavy stuff, and if you come against us, expect to get the throwdown, I mean, yeah, and it's just ominous there. The low end kind of bass response there with the drums are just that kind of like spooky little music box there with the whispers, and then with the rapping, a lot of it. There are moments where it massively changes its approach or instrumental makeup, so you're just kind of left with this kind of sinister approach or theme throughout the piece that I think sells the lyrics really neatly. And I think the expression throughout is appropriate. There is range with the way that we handle things between the chorus as well as the verse section. There are different ways of sort of vocalizing, so I like that range there, that difference. And I don't think we've had that many 3-verse tracks here. I think within this one, it was justified, but it was also nice to have a bit more of that kind of theme at the end there by itself, just to let things fade out there. It was quite well structured, and I appreciate the story that was told, even if again it's similar to previous approaches. I feel kind of comfortable with what this album is trying to represent now, and I think that this is another strong addition, a self-produced one, I think, to the rest of the troupe. We've got I'm Going Back, track number 16, production by Legion Beats. It has been a journey, but this is the final song.
It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. I rarely have opponents as all of my hair's growing. I'm taking baby steps, but it feels like the stairs growing. I'm screaming and chair throwing like I care for no one. All about the win and I play fair for no one. Lay here so broken while no tears are showing. The fear of being known makes my heart stop glowing. And I start choking and throwing up my lunch. I can never throw a fight if I always throw the punch. See, they don't know as much, so I can never lose my touch. No matter how much aside, I just feel like closing up this book. So I take a look at where it's taking me. People forsaking me cause they don't see my pedigree. In the sea of the sea monkeys, ain't nobody petting me. Monkey see, monkey do, no monkey do from seeing me. It goes easily for H's, the stages where I descend. So I can unwrap these raps and the truth is what I present. It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. See, when it come to fair, I could never play that way. I was so scared to fight, but was raised that way. Was ready to pack a gun, run up and slay that gay. Until that day came when the Columbine happened. So tragic, and felt the full force of the actions. Me listening to rap was an everyday fashion. Why not try to write and do a little bit of rapping? Bullies was straight asking for it. After class, I had a rhyme ready just to whoop that ass. I was fast and funny, made everybody laugh at them. So the next victim would be quick to stab at him. It was like a chain reaction. We could never let them win. The best feeling that I'll probably never get again. Now I'm getting to the point, I'm getting harder to neglect. Through all the bling bullshit and blatant disrespect, I like to shine, but sometimes I'd rather sit back and reflect. It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. Some days I wake up and I feel like dying, and I feel like lying just to make a diamond. The way the game's going, I ain't got a lot of timing. Just let me lay here, I don't feel like trying today. A lot of work trying to find your way. If you a predator, then you gotta find your prey. But in my state of mind, the sun almost never shines. So I'm just looking for a place of mine that I can pray in hopes that it changes the outcome. CMP behind me like I'm trying to outrun, just to get up to the top, homie, with or without them problems. I got some, this shit is just not fun. Screaming out my lungs till my tonsils got numb. Challenge, you want one, then that's what you got, son. Try and beat me, little buddy, yeah, you're far from. When I voice my problems, believe the whole bar come. Bullshit, I bar none. Watch this guitar strung. I always look forward no matter what cars come. And as far as I'm concerned, you can keep stargazing. I'm a dog, homie, I'ma keep car chasing. In the shit y'all making, I will not partake in. No small breaking, let me crack this crate and split wide open so that I can jump facing and
and bury this vicious monster that your boy done created.
It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self. It's like every day I take a different breath. And my fear is that I'm what they'll all forget. So in this mirror, all I see is what's left. And it's clear I'm going back to my old self.
Hang on a minute. So, wait, I think I've kind of rounded out the album a little bit internally. We're going to talk about the overall album conclusion in a moment, but just for this specific track, I'm going back. Are we talking about effectively, despite all the progress and the gains that were made, we still feel like we haven't accomplished what we want to? We still don't feel good about ourselves. There are some days that we don't feel like continuing, admitting that we haven't necessarily found happiness despite the gains and progress we've made within our craft, within our career, within our life, etc. Despite the being the portrait of power and repositioning ourselves and everything like that. It's an interesting story. I mean, it shows vulnerability here, and I'm sorry to hear genuinely that It's Your Boy H2 has been going through this. If they've been going through feelings of not wanting to exist anymore, I'm genuinely sorry, and I hope that you find peace and happiness or joy, or at least peace in your life. If you haven't already, I hope things improve for you, because I think everyone deserves to feel like they want to be alive, and I think everyone deserves to try and have a future, you know, and to want to have a future. I think everyone deserves that. I think more to the point, it's just kind of an unexpected curveball here. I feel like that kind of frank admission there is such a juxtaposition to a lot of the more kind of like heavy-handed, kind of like very intense, aggressive nomenclature that were put forward. And it's wild, but I like it because it's like just an interesting conclusion that no matter how far we go, we're probably going to turn back into who we... It's just interesting, because I don't know whether to interpret it as we've become more aggressive, so that's... Maybe we were trying to be a less aggressive person and we've ended up that way. We talk about making the bullies laugh and everything like that. Have we become a person we didn't want to be? Have we become more vulnerable? I'm not sure. Either way, fascinating stuff. I think this works well as a long-form track at the final one because of what the story is about. So the actual subject matter is part of why I appreciate this being the final part of a track. It kind of evens it out in an interesting way. And it leaves it so that the album feels unresolved. I would go so far as to venture that I would say the same thing about the theme there. It's a minor leaning in this. This entire track, through its vocals, the story that it presents, the beat behind it, the very kind of somber feeling to it with some of the chops, some of the synth, the pad parts, some of the bass and drums, etc., the minor leaning, indicates that we are not in a place where we're comfortable despite the gains we've made. It's like a very kind of soulful, moody track, especially with how the bass kind of like wiggles and writhes around in it. And you've got those kind of unusual kind of ghostly kind of things like bouncing around there, or like fading in and out of existence there. And it's not there all the time. It's a slower piece there, almost like we need the time to de-escalate. But the music's suggesting that as well as the vocals. And so I think that the use of these reverb tails, the use of allowing space for things to just be more vocal oriented or pad oriented at certain components there, allows for introspection further onto what we've already discussed. And I feel like that's important growth from perspective. I'm wondering if this is a natural kind of resolution of the journey of writing this album better than one. But I feel at least the production quality is tight for this last one. I feel like we've reached a nice endpoint there. It's just simply that the album has ended on a piece that lets us in a little bit more beyond the bluster, and I kind of appreciate that. And it's not done in a way where we're like, you know, self-pitying or anything like that. It's just being honest about how we see things and adds dimensionality. So I feel like that's my feedback on that track. I'm going back. But we're going to talk about this album more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this album, the entire 16 tracks from an act named It's Your Boy H2, titled Better Than One, out Friday 6th of June at midnight, Flatliner Friday. Now, this album, it's been a journey. I've given feedback on each of the 16 tracks individually, so if you want to, please check out each of the tracks that you want, either through timestamps or just, you know, through the description, or like, but either way, maybe look through the review before this conclusion section if you want thoughts on individual tracks. This is my overall thoughts on the album as a whole. It's a lot to absorb, Better Than One. I simultaneously feel as if I have heard a lot of similar stories, but they're from slightly different angles, and ultimately it presents as a musician who's very comfortable and on the surface with what they've accomplished, how they position themselves in comparison to other people, having the ability and freedom to do whatever they like with other people as per what we like, including the woman, getting other people's women, getting themselves in a position in their career where they can spit on the mic and have all these people produce with them and make great music, do so in a way that puts other people to shame and puts them at the leader of the pack in a position where they can basically dictate what they want to do and basically offer their career as a rebuttal for anyone who thinks otherwise. But it also shows a sense of, in certain positions, an understanding that maybe we want to move beyond this point, that we kind of see it being another day and that maybe we want something different. And we also show with the last track, I'm Going Back, that maybe we aren't necessarily completely happy with where we're at despite the bravado, and that we do still feel a sense of loss, that we haven't necessarily done what we wanted to, and that we're uncertain or unsure of it despite our growth and our potential and our success. And so I think that this is an album where we celebrate the growth they've made while still acknowledging that there is not a clear resolution to it, and that still we have room to grow and to you know, kind of expand and find ourselves. And I think that's kind of what life is, and I respect the fact that It'sYaBoiH2 has put that on disc. The vocals throughout this album are typically strong. We have spoken parts, we have sung parts. They aren't virtuosic sung, clean vocals, but they're vocals that work really well for the genre. And I like the fact that we double track or single track. We don't overproduce the vocals. They're either raw or they're raw the entire time. There's no like saturation on the vocals or anything like that. I mean, there might be some reverb tails, compression or EQ, like occasionally a bit more kind of like fragmented. I think there was also a track where we had a lady vocal or something like that. Yeah, Go the Distance, where we had like a lady doing like the lady vocals in the chorus sections immediately off the bat, which was a nice foil to a lot of what It'sYaBoiH2 was doing, carrying the album on their shoulders. But with a production from a lot of people such as Legion Beats, you know, Kubsy, A to the Mo, Count Henry, DETERMINATE Inc., Too Toxic, Destiny Beats, Big Cawk Beats, Anno, Domini, and then Legion Beats if I haven't mentioned them beforehand. There's a wide variety of different people involved with this, but yeah. The rapping was fantastic. We had a wide range of different rhythms and flows and expressions here. We were very charismatic on the mic. We knew how to kind of had the vocal fry, you know, like the air candy and like overdubs and stuff like that. Some parts were laughed, etc. Some parts were more sort of like very kind of like attitudinal, you know, like almost like we were kind of like, it was like theatrical. And so the expression was always appropriate and made a lot of sense. And I appreciate the intensity of it, the attention to detail, the effort put in by It'sYaBoiH2 to make that main lead work over time. And I think there was like one main sort of like additional lead solo that wasn't really, it was like kind of like a little mini solo section in the Anno Domini track with the guitars at the end, which was kind of dope. But ultimately, It'sYaBoiH2 was the main focal point for this, and they delivered on the microphone with a vast array of talking points without any stumbles. It was very polished, it was very precise, and I enjoyed listening to them. You know, like, again, there were some parts where like the wordplay was phenomenal, but there was some really hard lines in there that it was like, wow, if I wasn't familiar with music from this genre, it might be a little bit affronting. But like at the same time, music doesn't need to play nice and be all roses and daffodils. It can be harsh and intense, and that's okay. I dig it. And so ultimately, no complaints about the vocals within this album. I think that There were a wide array of different instrumental components in here with lots of different drum kits and basses, occasional electric bass, mostly 808s or bass synths there. Nice portamentos, some of them. There was a particular track, I think, by Count Henny that had like a phenomenal 808 tone to it. It was just fantastic. The drums really fit interesting throughout there. Lots of different chord 8s, triplets, and 16-note grooves as well. There were some interesting sort of like pads and key parts there. Lots of reverby kind of inclusions within this. There are some kind of ghostly reverb laden parts there. Lots of kind of like dreamy atmospheres there, with the 808s typically kind of contrasting to be a bit more sort of severe, and the drums with like a cymbal, kick, and snare focus with very little fill work outside of that, typically giving a sense of pace and groove, no matter whether the tracks were 2 or 6 minutes. Granted, like there are a wide range of different track lengths within this. I never felt that there was any filler. There were some tracks where there was a double chorus, and I was like, okay, we're making the most of this. We could have potentially in some tracks added like an additional kind of like lead solo section, or had like another lead instrument over like a second chorus or something like that, or adjusted things further, but it's all very subjective, and it's not necessarily as fashionable depending on the style or genre that you're going with, so that's okay. I think there were no issues fundamentally with any of the key choices, the scale signatures, the actual rhythmic components. The performances in general were very, very good. Things were tight. There was chemistry between the instruments. The themes typically, because the themes are too complicated to talk about per track within the 16-1, within the conclusion section, the themes typically matched. Like if there was more intense subject matter, you typically have like the minor sort of orient there. If there was more happy stuff, it wasn't super exuberant, but there was more sort of like major key leanings and stuff like that. It was typically triad based. There may have been occasional extensions, but things were kept more sort of like simple harmonically, and I think that was a smart move here. We didn't need to overcomplicate things. But the things with fact that things were more arpeggiated in certain components, and other times things were sort of more empty to allow for vocals to be a bit more kind of like prominent, is smart. But I think different producers made different allowances for It'sYaBoiH2's vocals within this, and now are typically the correct choices. Ultimately, I feel like we handled our beats really well. There was enough range through most of them to keep things going really neatly. I do want to say that with the tracks that It'sYaBoiH2 self-produced, if I'm not mistaken, there was usually more variety within those instrumentally or layer-wise there that I really appreciated that. Like songs like Actin, Too Tough, and Reposition and stuff like that. I like that. I think that that's something to consider. I think that It'sYaBoiH2 does do really well with their production. I feel like it might be good, if they haven't done so already, to look into an album of their own, or an EP of their own stuff. Because while I appreciate the work of a lot of the other producers on this album, theirs were some of my favorites. So I think When the Nightfall, especially that with that kind of the whispers, and then like the more kind of like the emptiness of it and everything like that, it suited the vibe really well. So like there was just a sense of cognizant of what was required in that respect. So they can handle it on their own, they can handle it with other people. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering, the production was adept. I was pretty happy with how things were handled there. No real complaints on that end. The vocals were captured clearly. The synth guitars, the keys, the bass, drums, etc., everything was neatly sidechained. I found that maybe the vocals were a little bit prominent in some tracks. I typically mentioned that when that was the case there. There was some interesting double tracking sort of like vocal decisions. There was one track where the vocals were really far on the sides, and there was like a little bit distracting. And I think that, it's cool to play around with different concepts and ideas there. You definitely did hear the differences between the takes to a way which is a little bit distracting, but not in a way where it's done poorly. It's just you're not going to get perfectly identical double tracks, and that's not the point really, because if they're perfectly identical, there's like phasing issues. You need them to be slightly different. But ultimately, just again, outside of that, the leveling in general was pretty good. The filtering and EQing stuff within the frequency spectrum, as well as in the stereo field, was good. We had little fade outs and bits of volume automation and stuff as well near the end of them and stuff, which was cool. There was dynamic range with a lot of these tracks. They were allowed to breathe. They weren't squished. Some of them were very loud. Some of them were a bit quieter. Sometimes again the vocals are more prominent, so it was difficult to tell which was which. But ultimately, in general, for the most part, I'm happy with the studio production. It is commercial grade. A nice shimmery chin to the mic tone, and we had no issues capturing things the way we needed to. And I think it was just nice and loud with that public to the bus compression and limiting was handled. I mean, effectively, this is my review of this album from an act named It'sYaBoiH2, titled Better Than One. I'm overall pretty happy with it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias. I'm sure this will be available on Spotify, June 6th, Spotify. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.